All right. Well, welcome to our last drummer meeting for ACM-W. Super exciting. Um, Next week is finals, and I'm super excited. I don't know about anyone else, but let's get started with our meeting and get into the content of it. Today we have some interns here from Twitter to talk about their internship experience and how they got into their internship. And then we have Brianna, a university campus recruiter, here to talk about some opportunities you guys can get into. But before we get to that part of the meeting, I'm going to go through some introduction slides, like always. And today we have a lot of QR codes that you will want to scan or might want to scan. So have your phone out ready to take a picture, to scan it, or you want to take a screenshot, that's cool too. So the first one is the sign-in sheet. If you haven't clicked the sign-in sheet in the YouTube chat or description already, here's a QR code for that, and sign in. You give that like 3 seconds or something for people to do that. Okay. And then our next slide is today is our last general meeting for fall of 2020. And for spring 2021, we're starting to plan for our meetings for ACM-W meetings next semester. And we wanted to get some feedback from you guys. Like, what do you want to see? What kind of like meetings you want to get into? What kind of companies you want us to invite, or like some topics that would make it that would be good, or maybe like workshops and things like that. So if you have some cool ideas or want to let us know that we're doing something terribly wrong, fill out this form right here, and it would really help us in terms of like trying to plan for the next semester. And then if you want to be part of that planning process, come and join our team. We have 2 officer positions open, and then we have JO officers for you to like come and join. So the first officer position is the social media one, social media officers, and then the other one is a PR, public relations officer. If you're interested in any of those or want to be a JO, fill out this form. It's a really good opportunity to gain experience and then put ACM-W on your resume. If you don't want to be a part of our team and you want to be a part of like Rowdy Hacks, which is cool too, you can join their design team. They're looking for people to join and design their social media templates, get some ideas in on like what kind of swag the hackathon might have, and then create a lot of web graphics and do advertisement. So there's a QR code for that. They're still looking for people. And then I know we advertised this last time, but this is a really, really good opportunity. It's a full-time scholarship opportunity for women who are seeking an undergraduate degree in STEM, funded by Cards Against Humanity, which is pretty cool. The deadline is December 14th, so if you haven't already, please take advantage of this opportunity and jump on it. It's full tuition scholarship, so that's crazy. And then right here, just to let you guys know, since we are starting to plan on our spring semester meetings, we don't have an actual date for the first meeting yet. So be sure to like follow our Instagram. That's usually where we post a lot of information. So you can get your information there. And this QR code is the same as the one I had in the slides like a few slides ago in terms of like what kind of meetings you want to see or like some feedback. So that's there. And this will conclude the introduction slides. I try to go through it quickly so we can get a lot more time with our Twitter interns. Okay, I've been talking for so much. So for the internship panel, we will have like Slido as our main course of questions, how you guys can ask questions, and then like the Twitter interns will answer them. So the Slido link will be posted in the YouTube chat. It's also in the description. And we will have our internship panel run like this. So we will have the first section, a few questions about like the applying process and interviewing, and then the second section is like when you're in the internship, like questions about like what was it like, what kind of team were you on, what things you were doing, things like that. So 2 sections, and if you want any like questions to go through that, you can ask through Slido. And I think that is it. So for everyone who has just came into the meeting now, we have three interns here, Addie, Anna, and Ray. And then we have a campus recruiter, Rihanna. She's going to be talking about opportunities. And since I'm done with my slides, Rihanna, are you ready to present your slides and start talking about some opportunities our members can get on with?
I am, yes.
Okay, let me go ahead and stop my sharing of the screen. All right.
All right, can you all see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Twitter. No, virtually welcome to Twitter. Thank you all so much for joining. We are all super excited to be with you all here today. We have three amazing interns who would love to share their experience with you, and we'll get to their introductions in a second. But I'm Rihanna. I am a university recruiter, campus recruiter at Twitter. My Twitter handle is at Rihanna Marie. It'll be on a few slides, and my pronouns are she, her. But I will go ahead without further ado, introduce our interns that we have for our panel.
All right, I guess I'll go first. Hey everyone, I'm Anna Arroyo. I was on the DES external infrastructure team this fall. My handle is just my name with an extra O at the end. I'm looking forward to answering y'all's questions.
Hi everyone, I'm Ray. I'm currently on the DS Insights team and excited to answer everyone's questions and concerns today. Thanks for having me.
Hi everyone, my name's Addie. I'm currently on the Trends and Events Detection team. Also super happy to be here, throw all your questions at us.
Awesome, thank you. Turns. Great. So before we get into the intern panel, I know you all cannot wait. I have a few things for you. I know that you're really interested in the university opportunities that we have for you all. Again, I'm Rihanna. That's my handle, university recruiter. My pronouns are she, her. All right, so we'll kick it off with the opportunities that we have as far as diversity initiatives goes. So our first program is First Flight. It's coming up pretty soon, just so December 8th to the 9th of 2020. But for those of you who are looking into this for next year, this is a really good program to keep on your radar. It is for anyone who is a full-time student majoring in computer science, computer engineering, and completing your undergraduate study in 2022 at a university or college. You must be able to stay for the full duration of the event and studying in US, Canada, Puerto Rico, and or Mexico. Now, this is a 2-day program. So the first program is going to be all about Twitter. You'll immerse yourself in Twitter culture. You'll learn a little bit more about what university recruiting does, hang out with us, meet a lot of really amazing tweets during your first day. And then your second day, you'll actually get to interview for a full-time internship position. So super exciting program there. And then moving on, we have Twitter Academy Internship, which is our only program that we have as far as internships for second-year students. So that's going to take place in summer of 2021. It is a 12-week summer internship program designed for historically underrepresented second-year computer science students. So if you identify as Black, Hispanic, Latinx, and or Native American, and you're interested in gaining hands-on and real-life experience in the tech industry, then Twitter Academy is for you. So be on the lookout for these diversity initiatives. You can apply at t.co/ibelong and learn more about them there. All right, so that takes us into our Take Flight. If you hadn't noticed yet, we love our bird puns. We turn everything into anything that relates to birds. So our Take Flight series takes place in spring of next year. And each of these programs are 2-day program experiences, except for Early Bird. Early Bird is a week long. So our first one is First Gen Here. So it's going to take place May 11th to the 12th of 2021 for first generation college students for second and third year, students who are studying in computer science. Again, that is going to be very similar to First Flight, where you will have first day, everything Twitter, what it's like to work at the company, and then you'll get to also have that second day with us as well. early bird. So that's the one that's going to be a week long. It's from May 17th to the 24th of 2021. And this is our actually only program that we have for first year students. So all of you first year students out there who are looking for programs, this is for you, who identify as Black, Hispanic, Latinx, and are Native American and studying in computer science. What's great about this program is it's a week long and you get to work on a program during this whole, or project during this whole week. And you get to interact with senior leaders and present to them. And what's also great is that Jack is very infamous for popping into these presentations. So you might meet Jack, which is a lot of fun and really great. Our next one is Develop Her. So this will take place May 31st to June 1st for second year students who identify as women studying in computer science. And then we have Tech Proud. So Tech Proud is going to be June 3rd to the 4th of 2021 for second year students who identify as LGBTQIA and then also studying in computer science. So you can apply and learn more about all of these programs at t.co/takeflight. I will say that if you need to screenshot any of these, just to remember, please feel free to take as many screenshots as you'd like of this deck. All right, so if we have anyone that's interested in product management, if you are an undergraduate senior, we have our associate product management roles as well. So this is going to happen in fall of 2021, a program that's developed to develop product leaders through training, mentorship, and rotating assignments at Twitter. APMs gain a unique view into how we design products and bring them to the market. So you can learn more at t.co/APM. And then PMI. So if you're looking for a product management internship, we have a 12-week summer internship for students interested in product management as well. That's going to take place summer of 2021. You can learn more at t.co/PMI. All right, so the Turns internship, which I feel like is what everyone is here for today. So we like to call all of our interns Turns, which is an actual bird. But the Turns internship will be a virtual 12-week experience for third-year undergraduate students and graduate students to gain direct exposure into the day-to-day of Twitter as a company. So because of the pandemic, we want to make sure that everybody is safe, everybody is working remotely and not in the Twitter offices. As you can see, we missed our office so much that we have all of the walls as our backgrounds right now. But next year, it is going to be virtual as well in the summer. This past summer, we also had our first virtual internship, but we had so many activities, activations, experiences that you'll feel that you are actually in the office. So I'll let the Turns tell you a little bit more about that. But you can learn more at t.co/internship program. And then your best friend link that you have to remember, if you take anything from my deck, is to apply at t.co/apply. That's going to be your best friend right there. All right, I know we have a lot of programs for you, but it's a good thing. So our next program is called #NestGen. So it is a new program within the Experience org designed to prepare new college graduates to become exceptional leaders in tech. So once you come on full-time after you graduate, you're automatically enrolled into our NestGen program. It focuses on technical skill development, interpersonal workshops, and community. It also provides learning and development panels, executive leadership chats, and mentorship. They also have a lot of different workshops besides technical, but also finance and how to manage your finances, which I wish I had when I graduated college. But they have all of that great activities for you. You can learn more at t.co/NestGen, and then again, t.co/apply to apply. All right, and the last thing I have for you, so we do have 3 different applications, just depending on which region that you are in. So we have JPAC, which covers the Japan and Asia Pacific region, EMEA, which is Europe, Middle East, and Africa regions, and then Americas, which would be North America and Latin America. So of course, you would apply for whatever region that you are in or region that you would like to work in, but all can be found at t.co/apply. And I look forward to answering your questions as well at the end. But with that, I will hand it over to our panelists.
All right. Hi. Thank you. Thanks, Rihanna. I'm Lisette. I'll be asking today's questions. So let's get started. So let's start off with Anna. How did you apply to Twitter?
Yeah, so I kind of did like a non-traditional kind of approach to getting my internship at Twitter, which is great though, because like Rihanna was saying, I actually went to one of the Take Flight programs. I went to Developer in 2018. And after that program, they let you interview for some of the internships. And so I followed that path, and that's kind of how I applied and got the internship for this semester. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anna. So next, let's go with Addie. So how was your experience, or how did you apply to Twitter?
So kind of like Anna, I had a very non-traditional application in the sense that I applied last year summer, but I was applying for Twitter's Grace Hopper scholarship. And so because of that, that scholarship basically entailed like Twitter taking me to Grace Hopper, which is an amazing conference that I would highly recommend anyone to attend. But also on top of that, I would be interviewing for an internship for the following summer. So because I successfully interviewed for the Grace Hopper scholarship, I was able to attend the conference in, I believe, late September or early October. And then I was able to land my internship for a year in advance. So I highly recommend planning very far ahead for internships because you never know when like situations like COVID happen.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that advice, Addie. And next is Ray. So how did you apply to Twitter?
Similar to Anna and Addie, I applied to one of the Twitter events that Brianna mentioned earlier. I was part of the First Flight event, which was a Tuesday event where I was able to visit the Twitter office last year, and then I was able to attend a lot of workshops and meet other First Flight attendees. And then after that, the next day, I was able to interview for the full-time internship. And yeah, that's how I got into Twitter. So I would definitely highly recommend to apply to all these events, as they'll definitely make you stand out.
Well, it's kind of crazy. We all kind of like took this weird approach to it.
Awesome. Yeah. So I guess if we take anything away from this, it's like there's more than one way to apply, and definitely we should always be taking advantage of those programs that are available to us, since we never know, you might land an internship and with your future employer. All right. So for the next question, Anna, I don't know if you want to answer this one first. What would you have wanted to know before your interview?
I'm honestly not very good at like hyping myself up for like interviews especially. And so for the interview I had for this internship, I wish something I knew was like that, just like everything was going to be okay. I didn't need to like psych myself out. And it really helped to like everything just like went super smoothly too. So yeah, I wish I could have just known to like tell myself to just like chill out, because I did the exact opposite, but in the end I ended up doing completely fine. So it's a mental thing, I think.
All right, thank you so much. And Addie, what's something you wish you would have known before your interview?
I think along the lines of what Anna said, an interview is much easier than like you think. So a lot of the times, like a lot of people who are new to interviewing definitely psych themselves out, and then because of that, they perform like worse than how they would normally perform. So a good way to practice is to like sit down with friends and ask them to give you mock interview help. That was really helpful for me when I was prepping. And also like the typical LeetCode questions.
Alrighty, thank you. And Ray, if you want to go ahead and let us know what you wish you would have known before your interview.
Yeah, similar to what both of Addie and Anna said before, especially Addie when she mentioned about mock interviewing, I think that definitely helped me a lot when prepping for just any technical interviews in general. And also like having a mindset of just trying to meet people rather than interviewing really helped me. Because when I was going in, I thought Twitter interview was going to be super hard. So I kind of just like went in with the mindset, just like have fun, meet new people, learn new things. And that really helped me to relax a little and like help me perform better.
Thanks, guys, for all your advice. I'm sure we can all take away from that and apply it to like many interviews. And I just want to go ahead and ask Stephanie, are there any questions in the Slido or in our YouTube chat?
Hi guys. Yes, so we have 3 questions on Slido. They seem to pertain more to Rihanna though. So the first one is, how quick is Twitter to reply to you after applying?
Yeah, great question. So our applications opened October 1st or October 3rd. So if you haven't applied yet and you are ready, I would advise you to, as soon as we're done with the interview panel or done with that you would go to t.co/apply and apply. The sooner that you apply, the sooner that you'll hear back. And the reason being is because we have what's called a rolling application. And what that means is once you apply, your application is basically going to be viewed by different hiring managers and teams on a rolling basis. And then once a hiring manager or team is interested in your profile, then they'll reach out to us so that we can kick off your interview process. The reason why I say you should apply earlier or now is because you'll have more eyes on your application with hiring managers and teams. As you go further out into the year or next year, there might not be as many teams that are looking at that time. So right now, everybody's looking, and I advise you to apply as soon as possible.
Okay, great. So the next one is, what sets the PMI apart from the regular internship?
Yeah, so that's a great question as well. So our regular internship, our Turns internship, is really open to any student. So you don't have to have a computer science background or anything like that. We have both technical engineering and then non-engineering internships available as well. What sets PMI apart is that is specifically catered towards product management. So if you want to take a career, start a career within product management, then having a product management internship will definitely help you there and kickstart you within taking that journey.
Okay, and last one, what are Twitter's philosophies and policies regarding the further education of employees?
Yeah, that's a really good question as well. I might need a little bit more context there, but Twitter completely supports if you want to go back to school and further your education. I might need a little bit more of, if you mean if we support that in any way financially or things like that. Did they give you any context?
No, but I would recommend them to maybe reach out to you if they're
yeah.
in more information.
Yes, absolutely. That is another great point. Is my handle is at Rihanna Marie. I'll put it back on the slide, but I actually answer all of my direct messages. So if you want to direct message me on Twitter, I will get back to you as soon as possible. A lot of students don't take me up on that, and I don't have anything in my DMs, but feel free to direct message me on Twitter with any questions that you have, and I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Rihanna. And those are all the questions for now. Lizette.
All right, thank you so much, Stephanie. So for the next section, we're going to go ahead and get into the internship questions. We kind of already touched on this question with the last one. This next question is actually, did you have imposter syndrome and how did you deal with it? And for those who don't really know what imposter syndrome is, it's kind of when you go into an interview and you feel like you're not qualified, or you are kind of sort of imitating someone else because you think those might be the qualities they're looking for. But yeah, if you guys want to go ahead, Anna, would you like to kick us off with that question?
Yeah. imposter syndrome, I think, is like something that everybody deals with, like regardless of your background or whether you feel like you're good enough to be where you are in the position you're in. So I've definitely dealt with it for like years, basically ever since I started computer science. In terms of like how I've dealt with it, have been kind of like a rolling basis. Like I kind of try to figure out like what works for me and what doesn't. Um, but I kind of have just like normalized it in my head. Like this is just a normal feeling to have, and it's good to like acknowledge it. And not try to ignore it, just acknowledge it and try to like move on and kind of make peace with it instead of kind of going the opposite direction. So yeah.
Great, thank you. And if Addie, if you want to go ahead and answer, did you feel like you had imposter syndrome going into the Twitter interview or any aspect in your internship?
I think it's definitely very common for people who are very early on in their careers to have imposter syndrome. But what I realized is like not everyone in the room is as knowledgeable as you would assume. So a lot of the time, like especially like working on a team, like when you join a team, obviously you are the newest and you don't really know the tech stack that well, but more often than not, like not every single engineer in the team knows the entire code base as or like they don't all know the entire code base very well. Like everyone has their specialties in the code base. And so you can ask specific questions to different people. But at one point in the internship, you will most definitely like own an area of the code where it's like people, your team members will ask you questions. So just keeping that in mind really helps imposter syndrome because it's like you kind of just learn. It really is just a learning process, and you just have to know the code, and so it's not as bad as you think.
All right, thank you so much, Addie. That was actually some really comforting advice. I know some of us, that's something that many of us would like to hear. And that's very helpful for us, like, you know, any of us dealing with imposter syndrome. And Ray, so did you feel like you had imposter syndrome? And if so, how did you deal with it?
Yeah, so to give a quick bit of context, I like probably failed like my first 15 interviews before I like finally passed my first one. So I think during like during that interview phase, I definitely had like imposter syndrome, thinking like I'm like not good enough, and like not qualified for the jobs. But soon you realize it's really about like improving and learning after each I guess your failures, and really taking it as a learning experience. So that's one mindset that really helped. Also during the internship or as someone early on in your career, your expectation is to learn most of the time rather than actually I guess like pump out a lot of code in like your first few weeks. So really just being able to improve day by day and having that learning mindset is will like help you grow even further, and then help you get rid of that imposter syndrome mindset, because your expectation is to learn as an intern.
Alrighty, thank you so much. For our next question, I'm actually really curious about this myself. So what was the most interesting or exciting technology that you guys got to learn or use interning with Twitter? Oh, whoever wants to go first. Anna can go first, right? Whoever wants.
Yeah, I can go first. So Twitter like primarily uses the programming language called Scala. And so learning that over the course of my internship has been really great because I know it's like not taught as often in schools. And so it was really great to be able to learn that. In addition to that, I also got the chance to get some like hands-on experience with Hadoop and some scalding jobs. So those are the cool stuff I worked on.
Awesome. I think, and then since you guys all interned in different sections, I'm sure maybe you all, I don't know if you guys use, the same technology or different ones, but Addie, what do you think was the most exciting technology you got to use at Twitter?
In terms of technology, I would definitely say like Strato. So Twitter uses Manhattan to store their data, and then Strato is like a high level abstraction over Manhattan, and it really makes like insertion and deletion and all the typical database functions very easy. And it also has a very nice UI, so it's fun to work with. But I think in terms of like non-technical, my team, because my team is the events and trends and events detection team, and recently we just had the US election. I think it was a perfect time to be on my team because we worked very heavily on the election, and it was just very interesting to see how like a news giant would kind of like affect election or like the conversations around the election in terms of like making sure that nothing bad is trending, making sure the trends are like healthy, good public conversation, while also like treading the fine line of like freedom of speech. So that was just like a very interesting thing to think about and a great time to be on the team.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I think I did notice on Twitter with I think we got you guys started out with all the like the fact checking and everything throughout, which is really cool. And Ray, so what was some of the technology that you found interesting or fun to work with at Twitter?
Rather than like a specific technology, I really learned a lot about debugging, and debugging might sound like very boring, but it's actually like very important a skill to have on the job, especially when you're working at Twitter, where it's a very large system, and whenever you're deploying something, it's very hard to track down like where is it that went wrong. So learning about like what tools to use at what situations and like to debug through the issues is like a very cool thing to learn, and it's very useful. So
Yeah, +1 to that.
Great. Thanks, guys. Yeah, debugging is, I guess, something I had underestimated when I first started coding. It was very important, definitely. Okay, so the last question we're going to ask here before we head over to our Slido is, how did Twitter handle COVID? And how did your internship adjust to the pandemic? If Anna, you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. I think Twitter handled quarantine and COVID-19 really well. I think like they were one of the first companies to start like everybody working from home way back in like early March. And like my internship was virtual too. So it just like kind of showed me that they cared a lot about like the safety and the health of their employees and stuff. Even though it was virtual, it was still like super fun. We still had like a bunch of social events that just like got transitioned to like a virtual environment, but we're still just as fun. So yeah, I think they handled it extremely well, and I still had a really great time regardless.
Awesome, that's great to hear. So Addie, how was your experience, interning in the time of COVID, and how do you think that affected, your internship?
I think honestly, like an internship is not as fun remote, just because like during a typical internship, like as my code compiles, I tend to like walk around to different interns' desks and like ask them to like, oh, let's grab a snack, or like, oh, let's like go play some games or something. So obviously that aspect is gone. And then like a lot of teams also like have like Nerf guns or like random cool things in the office that is usually very fun to be part of. But I guess like in like to make up for that, like the interns, apart from the socials that the UR team organizes for us, the interns, like we try to get together once every week and we like chat or play games. And so just like staying connected is still very fun and just like trying to mimic like a real internship. But yeah, you just gotta make do with the best, or make do with the best that you can. Yeah.
Great, thanks. I think it's really awesome to hear that, you guys are still trying to socialize and get to know each other, even like, during this rough time. And Ray, how do you feel like Twitter, handled the COVID situation? How was your internship affected? How was your experience with it?
Yeah, I personally found it that Twitter handled it really well. Similar experience with Addie and Anna. One thing specific is that so I was part of the the summer internship, and I moved to part-time during fall, and they were able to accommodate really well since I was originally in Toronto, Ontario, and I was able to move to Vancouver, and then Twitter made the transition very, very smooth, and which they really embraced like their work from anywhere culture really well. So they are always very flexible with accommodations about like where you work, if you need any support from anywhere. So yeah, it's been great for me.
Alrighty, thank you guys so much for those answers. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Stephanie. She's going to read off a couple of questions from our Slido.
Yay. Okay, yes, we have a couple questions. These are mainly for the interns. The first one being, what moment during your internship did you realize that interning at Twitter was a wonderful decision?
I don't know if there was like a specific moment, but there are like a series of moments on like a good basis that like remind me that I did like make a good decision and wanting to intern here and wanting to work here. So yeah, it's like a constant feeling. I wouldn't say there's just like one, but it's throughout, which I think is a really good sign.
For me, I was generally surprised about like how welcoming and how supportive everyone is. Ever since day one that I started interning here, like the first day, like everyone wanted to meet me and chat with me to learn more about me, rather than just being, I guess, like coworkers. So I really enjoy the social aspects that my teams have, and also how supportive everyone is of me to learn and grow. So yeah, similar to what Anna said, just like a continuous feeling kind of thing.
My point of inflection is kind of different in the sense that like I really realized that like my timing was perfect when like the US election happened, or like during the ramp up to the election. Basically like after the first week, my team was like briefing me about like everything that we would do for the election, and I was like, oh wow, like I did not plan my internship so that it would like coincide with the election. I didn't plan my team so that it would be like on a very election like heavy team. So everything just worked out, and I think like still to this day like it was a very interesting experience, especially since like over the summer I took a course on the social implications of computing, and so a lot of the projects that the team was talking about, like yeah, I kept talking to my manager and like all my different coworkers about like the social implications of what we were doing and everything like that. And just like it was interesting seeing Congress gun down on Jack about everything that Twitter did during the election. Very interesting time.
That's great that you got to experience like working with the election. I think that's really cool. The second question is, what did you do in your specific roles?
Oh wait,
Uh,
I think you got cut off, Stephanie. I don't know if everyone heard.
Okay, I'll repeat it. What did you do in your specific roles?
Okay, I'm assuming this is like within our teams. And I guess like my role as an intern with like my team was on like the external infrastructure team within the Data Enterprise and Solutions organization, which in simple terms is like the organization that really handles like the data products of Twitter, i.e. including like the Twitter API. And so working on the external infrastructure team, I guess like the role I served in that was making sure that what we mainly handle is the billing. And so making sure like all of our services work with all of our external infrastructure and like how we bill people. So that was like my role, I guess.
My role was I'm in the sort of the same org as Anna, where I built out the features specifically for the APIs, the Twitter APIs that relied on Anna's team's TS infrastructure. So currently we're building out the new version of APIs, and then we're building out features. Currently we're building out the follower API where you could get requests for followers and what the followings are, and also following someone and like unfollow someone through the APIs. So that's what I've been working on recently.
In terms of me, my team really just owns everything that has to do with trends. That's the bigger aspect of what my team does. And so like anywhere you can see trends, like that's what we own. So we own trends that you search for. So that's under explore, or trends that are recommended to a user. And then behind that is a bunch of machine learning algorithms. And it's really cool. What my team did in terms of like thinking of an intern project for me, they kind of just like chose something off of their big spreadsheet of projects to work on, and they chose something for me. So I'm working on this new service. So it was very interesting to see how a service is built up from scratch, because most of the time in an internship, you're like sandboxed into this small environment, this small area of the code, where it's like very confusing and it's very legacy code, and sometimes legacy code is spaghetti. But it was very interesting how I got to work with a staff engineer to like build a service from scratch. So that includes like managing all the folders, the directories, like thinking of how to connect things from scratch. That was just very interesting. So yeah.
Okay, very cool. So assuming that this is currently work from home, what moments at Twitter make you stay motivated? And Ray, if you would like to go first.
Sure. I'd say really just like the social aspects of the like our teams have. We do set up like a daily chatting hour for our teams, just to like hang out, chat about different things, play games. So those moments are really nice. And then as Addie mentioned earlier, we have our weekly intern sort of social where we like play games, chat around, things like that. So those social aspects definitely keeps me motivated. And also just thinking about how much like impact Twitter is having in the US and the world. It's really motivating for me to think about like how much impact your work could have on the society. So yeah, the other thing that's keeping motivated.
Very cool.
Yeah.
How about you, Anna?
I was just gonna say, like, basically to piggyback off of what Ray was saying there at the end. I think that's like definitely what keeps me motivated is like, I honestly feel like even as an intern, that like what I'm doing like really matters. Because Twitter is such like a standout company, and they're doing like a lot of really like progressive things that it really feels like I'm making an impact there. Um, so that's like some of the motivations that kind of keep me going is I feel very valued.
Okay, and Addie?
Personally, this is like a very small thing, but I just like the feeling of completing Jira tickets. So like as I go through the sprint, as I move my Jira tickets along the board, that just is such a fun feeling.
It definitely is.
Okay, and now a couple more questions. Was this your first internship? If Ray, you'd like to go first again.
Sure. This is my, this was not my first internship. I previously had 3 internships before this. But I don't think like, I don't think it's a requirement to have previous internship experience. They really set you up to learn. But yeah, I previously worked in sort of similar fields where it's software engineering. So that really helped me build a nice foundation coming into this. But don't be worried if you don't have like internships like before your junior year. Like I didn't have my very first internship until like the junior year, the summer after my junior year, where like I know a lot of people had like even internships wherever like in high school or like first year. So like don't worry too much about that. Just like go at your own pace. Don't feel any pressure.
Okay, how about you, Anna?
Kind of same boat as Ray. I think this internship was my third. But pretty much like +1 to what everything Ray said, just like go your own pace. It's totally fine. If you don't have internship experience, you just want to make sure like you can stand out in your own way. So
Okay, and Addie?
I think this is not my first internship. This is my last internship. But I think what is very important is that you set up one-on-ones with your team members, like from the get-go, because especially like in a remote internship, it's kind of like weird to, or like some people don't really like slacking people for help. So if you set up like regular biweekly one-on-ones with people, it's very easy to reach out for them for help. That's a tip that I received from someone else early on. So from the get-go, I've always set up a bunch of meetings with team members. And if you feel like the meeting is not necessary, then like you can just cancel it. But more often than not, it's like fun to catch up with coworkers, and it's also like useful for them to like take a look at your code, because sometimes like you ask people to review your diff and they don't really review it until you get on a call with them and you're like, hey, do you have time to look at my diff and review it? So yeah, very helpful, would highly recommend.
Okay, and now how did you go about reaching out to other interns and Twitter employees virtually to expand your network and meet new people? If you'd like to go again, Ray.
Yeah, I think at least for the summer internship, the university recruiting set up I think it was either bi-weekly or monthly intern social groups that had like a rotation every 2 weeks we had like a different group of interns, so that really helped me to meet other interns across the company. And also definitely reach out to your mentor and manager to because they usually been in the company for a lot longer, so they have a lot of connections and friends like within the company. So I had my mentor set up like one-on-ones with other people in the company to learn about different areas of work. So I would definitely like reach out to your manager or like your mentor, see if they can help out with that. Yeah, I think that's my experience. What about you, Addie?
Wait, sorry, what was the question again?
Was how did you go about reaching out to other interns and Twitter employees virtually to expand your network and meet new people?
Honestly, you kind of just stalk them. Okay, but this is how you stalk them. So there's always, at least for interns, there's this like intern directory, and then it'll show you like their like Twitter handle, and then I think it also shows you, it may or may not show you their like Slack handle or like their like LDAP. And essentially like I kind of just went down that list and like messaged people as they joined. And then a great way to meet full times is to join the Slack room called like coffee chats, something coffee. Like every company has this. It's like they match you up with people like every month or bi-weekly or something, and then you like go meet them. It's like coffee chats. It's something, it's always something coffee. I don't really remember, but you can like search in Slack for like coffee something, and then it'll pop up, and then a bot will like join people together. It's a great way to meet like completely random people that you would not normally meet, because normally your team scope is like, or like your manager or your mentor can only connect you with like within their scope. And then sometimes you're like, oh, I work in like for example trends and events detection, but like I wonder what's going on with ads. Like the coffee bot might like match you up with some ads person, and then it'd be like very interesting to learn about like what they're doing on that side of the company.
Very cool. How about you, Anna?
Yeah, Addie and Ray pretty much wrapped it up, but I utilized those channels where they like set you up with like somebody in the company that like you normally wouldn't meet. And they have like different channels for like different offices, but since everything's virtual, I basically like just joined them all because it doesn't really matter. And so I got to meet like a bunch of people this way, people that like I met in the beginning of my internship and like still continue to talk to even towards the end. So I really like met some great people through that. And kind of like Addie was saying, I also like would kind of just like stalk people in my org and like look around and kind of like see what kind of positions people are in, and if I was like really interested in a certain technology or a certain team, I'd kind of just like reach out to them on Slack and just be like, hey, you know, I'm new here, I'm an intern, like I'd love to get to know like more about what you do, and just would set up one-on-ones with them. So there was a bunch of opportunities to really network. And if you really wanted to, you can just like utilize all of them. So that was really great about interning at Twitter.
Oh, also, I would like to add on that every company has an org chart. So Twitter has this, like we call it Birdhouse. And essentially you can just like stalk everyone, including that. So basically you can like see how like all the levels play out. So sometimes like it's fun. It's like a tree diagram structure, and then it shows like all the information. It's like fun stalking, you know, but like not like bad stalking, like good stalking. And then you like see random people that you like may or may not meet, and then you like send them a Slack message.
I like
So,
that. Go ahead, Ray.
yeah, sorry. Also adding on to that, the university recruiting during summer and fall set up Q&A sessions with like the high level execs within our company. So I personally was really lucky that I got to talk to Jack, our CEO, during the summer. And then I think during the fall, I think we were able to talk to Mike Montano, which is our head of engineering, and also our CFO, which was our Ned, I believe. So the university recruiting really like helps us to really grow our network and reach out to people.
Okay, we have a couple more questions. Addie, if you want to start us off on this one, what was the first day of your internship like, and what did you do?
First days during internships are never fun because you're just onboarding. So like setting up your laptop, setting up your credentials, it's just a bunch of setup. And then like as with like all internships, the first week is more orientation in terms of like getting to know this tech stack and everything else. So all in all, the first week is not the highlight of my internship, but it's also very crucial because it teaches you a lot of things. Like it teaches you a bit about Scala, it teaches you a bit about Manhattan, it teaches you like a little bit about everything. But it's just like a lot of information to take in at once. And it's, in my opinion, not enough depth, which I have voiced to my manager, and we'll see what happens in terms of orientation.
Okay, Anna, would you like to go?
Yeah, I think like all of our first days are going to be pretty similar unless somebody had a really fun first day that we don't know about. But same as Addie, like I think I got like my work laptop like a few days before my first day. And then on my actual first day, you basically just like set it up for like a few hours. And that was pretty much it. I think I met my team on my first day too and just like said hi. And then that was it. So it's pretty normal first day, just set up and onboarding and all that jazz.
Okay, cool. And Ray?
Yeah, very similar. I guess just for virtual internships in general, I think the first day isn't going to be that fun because usually the highlights of the first day is like when you're in person is to meet other interns, um, like tour around the office, tour around like a city that you're at. So without that, it's like most of the day is just like IT setup and like um, intern orientation and also getting to be your team.
Okay, and I know, Ray, you mentioned you got to talk to Jack. Did anyone else get to meet him as well?
There was a like meeting or like a, I guess like a tech talk or a session with Jack with like some of the new hires. But unfortunately I had like something that was like time conflicting with that, so I never actually got to go. But yeah, I see him all the time. He always like talks to Twitter employees, so never actually got to like talk to him, but I've seen him a bunch.
Okay, and now we have a couple questions from YouTube. They're just three of them. Is there anything y'all think made you stand out when you applied/interviewed?
I think personally, I think applying to those events that Rihanna mentioned earlier, is a really great way to stand out because usually the more normal application might have like tens of thousands of applications each year, and it's really hard for I guess recruiters to like really dig through that and like find you. It's I think based on percentage wise, it's basically like it's much harder for you to be noticed through like the normal application. So I definitely recommend you to apply to um, these events that Twitter are doing. And as you can see, like all three of us went through that process and then we all got the internship. So I definitely do that to stand out, especially for Twitter applications.
Okay, how about you, Addie?
I would say like specifically for the interview, like this applies to any like interview. I think it's just nice to like relax yourself a bit before and then seem like come off very like calm instead of like nervous and stressed. So typically like what I do, I'm a very bubbly person, and so I let that shine in the interview, and usually that really helps just because like if you think of it from an interviewer's perspective, they're doing interviews the entire day and like they're not having fun. So like if you can brighten their day, like at least they will not hate you. So I would recommend like telling a joke or doing basically anything to like kind of brighten their day, because like back-to-back interviews is not fun, like from either perspective, right? So you just want to like relax everyone.
Okay, and Anna?
Yeah, I guess like what helped maybe like not in like the application process with Twitter, but just in general for like applications I do submit. Having like a really good resume and like making yourself stand out on there is really good. I know in mine I had a lot of like activities and volunteering things that helped me stand out. And then as far as the interviewing went, for Twitter specifically, I feel like one of the things that made me really stand out was I made it really clear to my interviewers that like no matter the outcome, that I was gonna like take all this information and learn from it. So I think that's what helped me stand out.
Okay, and one last question. We could go ahead and start with Ray as well. Is there any specific prep you did that really paid off? And what are good prospects to highlight when applying?
So in terms of prep, I think we mentioned earlier, I personally did a lot of lead coding and like mock interviewing, even if like I didn't have interviews, because I was like applying to so many jobs at a point, like I know like one day I'm gonna get an interview, and when I get the interview, like I don't want to be panicking the day before and like cramming and studying for these interviews. So having a like regular schedule to like study your algorithm, study your questions, studying your mock interviewing skills really paid off for me at least. Sorry, what's the second part of the question again?
The second half?
Yeah.
What are good prospects to highlight when applying?
I guess in terms of resume, it's really on your resume, really talk about what your impact is on like what you've done rather than just like listing out like what you did. So really highlighting the most important like details and what your impact is for this specific either project or work experience. And also adding in metrics will really highlight your impacts even more. So yeah, I think for the resume part, that's it for me. Anything you want to add? And then we're Addy.
I would like to highlight the importance of referrals. Like, it makes everyone's life easier. It makes the recruiter's life easier. They don't have to like filter through a bajillion resumes that like kind of look the same. Because like honestly, like all university students kind of look the same. Like there are so many schools, there are so many students, everyone kind of looks the same. So like a referral in that case like really helps you out. At some companies, it's like it directly gets you an interview or at least like a phone screen. So yeah, I would highly recommend like people who do have like the networking connections to like reach out for referrals. And that like stresses the importance of like having your own network. So just like at whatever company you are, like make sure that like even after you leave, after you finish an internship, like staying in touch with your coworkers is very important, because like at least for tech, like everyone works in tech, so like people will jump around to different tech companies, right? So like say like during your first internship you work with like I don't know 4 coworkers, but then like for your and then like 2 years later you want another internship, but like by then those 4 initial coworkers might have jumped to 4 completely different companies. Maybe you want to work at all of them, so you can just directly reach out to them for a referral. And like referrals are very helpful if you've previously worked with them, which is why like staying in touch with past coworkers is very important, that like a lot of interns tend to forget. They're like, oh, I left this internship, okay, bye. I don't need to stay in touch with anyone, like don't need to talk to my manager anymore, don't need to talk to my mentor anymore. Like that's the wrong mentality to have.
Okay, and how about you, Anna?
Yeah. Prep I did for my interview. I am going to be honest, I didn't do a whole lot of prep like right before. But I did do a lot like earlier on, like when I was a sophomore in college. Like I was practicing with my friends and then like going over mock interviews all the time. And part of the reason why I was so worried, like going into my Twitter interview was like, oh, I feel like I haven't like really practiced, and I was kind of psyching myself out. But one thing I didn't really realize is like you don't really ever like lose that skill. You just like keep building off of it. And so as long as you lay like a really good foundation of learning how to interview and like keeping up with like how to communicate and stuff, you'll be fine. And then as far as what was the other question?
It was, what are good prospects to highlight when applying?
Right. Okay. I'm gonna have to agree with like everything that Ray said too. You really want to make sure that you have a really nice impact, whether that be like through projects you do or in the clubs you're in or in anything else you do that really shows like what you're passionate about. That's also really good to highlight, and it's never bad to have referrals either. So
Okay, those
Oh,
are
I would
all the
also like to
questions.
add that for the people who can afford a LeetCode Premium subscription, I would highly recommend it. You only need it for like what, 2 months when you prep,
I agree.
and
yeah,
then just
and
like
you can.
grind through the solutions.
I think like what my friends and I used to do is you'd like split the price, and then I'll share like one account.
Yeah,
So
like I
Yeah.
think
that's
it's
a thing
definitely
too.
worth it.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, you're kind of just grinding LeetCode. Like there's no real easy way to land an internship or like to succeed at an interview other than like
Yeah.
do the problems.
Right.
Yeah. I personally found leak code is like there's a certain point where in my opinion, there's a point after a certain number of leak code questions you do, like you don't improve as
Oh
much
yeah, it
anymore. And I
plateaus.
think it really plateaus. So I think after that, mock interviewing is like really, really important. That really like solidifies everything that you've done for leak code to really run out like your your interviewing skills. So I feel like usually if you do like after 100 to 150ish, it's like it's like you can stop there now. You can start move on to mock interviews.
Yeah, interviewing is definitely an art. It's like a presentation. And like it's
Yeah.
also interviewing is not necessarily testing like how you solve the problem. It's like how you reach there, how you communicate it with the interviewer. Because like usually the interviewer is hiring you to be on their team. So they want someone collaborative who can communicate. Because like the day-to-day of an engineer is not like, oh, who can like, I don't know, solve this problem in linear time. Like, no, that's not how that's not what we do on a daily basis. Usually engineers like communicate and need to discuss problems, usually like sometimes cross-functionally as well. So just like communication skills, making sure you can explain your ideas and talk your interviewer through the steps. So just like practice mock interviews.
Okay, thank you guys for the advice. Those are all the questions from Slido and YouTube.
Great.
Okay. Wow. We're a little bit over time, but I enjoy that a lot. Addie, that was really good advice on the leak code thing. I did not think about spending money on that, and I probably should have. I spent a lot of time failing a lot of interviews and just randomly picking leak code problems to do. Could have saved myself time. All right. So, anyways, I know in the beginning, Rihanna, did you want to like throw up your handle again, just for a few seconds or anything like that?
Yes, absolutely. Just give me.
Yeah. So anyone who wants to reach out to Rihanna can do that. That would be
Yes.
really
So
helpful.
you'll see my handle in the bottom right-hand corner. It's at Rihanna Marie. And then feel free to send me a DM with any questions that you have regards to our opportunities or anything like that. I'll be more than happy to help.
All right. Cool beans. I'm gonna go ahead and start sharing my screen again. It seems like it's really quick, but good thing everything is recorded, so you can go back and watch this again. So let me click a few buttons. All right, cool. So just wanted quickly to say thanks, everyone. Addie, Anna, Ray, thanks for coming and like giving us some quality like advice and showing us like how you did your thing to get into Twitter. And thanks, Rihanna, for coming here and like letting our members know what they can get on in terms of opportunities. I really appreciate you guys. This is an awesome meeting. And to wrap this meeting up, since we are over time, this is the last meeting for ACM-W. Our next meeting will be in spring, but we do have one more meeting in terms of ACM as the umbrella itself is tomorrow at 5:15 p.m. on Wednesday. We have a social with ACM, and you guys can come and hang out, take a break from studying, and just relax a little bit, you know? So that is all I have to say. And next week is finals, so good luck on finals, and I hope everyone has a good evening or night.